Hi everyone, Paul Mann here and welcome to my videos on Practical Python. In this series of videos, we'll learn how to use Python with data analysis. Data analysis is a broad term that involves processing and transforming data to analyze and make decisions with it. This is a key function with writing code, and Python does it really easily and well, mostly because of the great libraries and resources that are available for this purpose. The software library we'll be mostly using here is called Pandas. Specifically, we'll be working with Pandas dataframes, which is a data structure with columns and rows that allow us to easily import and work with data from common formats such as CSV, Excel, JSON, and even SQL. In the first video, we're going to do two things. We'll install Pandas and some other libraries to work with sample data. We'll also introduce a graphical user interface or GUI to our code to make file management easier. So to kick off our data analysis here, we have a sample file, which is a passenger list of the Titanic. We'll use that to slice and dice. And we also have a Python file. So the first thing we need to do is install some modules. This is how you should install Pandas. This /m is module. And you should follow this exactly. It is a little tricky. Make sure that all of the libraries are installed. Second thing we're going to install is PySimple, which is what we're going to use as a GUI to open files and save files. We'll test both of these in the Python console. That's at the bottom of PyCharm. And if both of these import statements don't come back with an error, then we've successfully installed. So let's import our Pandas library. We'll import it as PD. This is just so we don't have to type Pandas all the time. And we'll install import PyGUI as PQ. So I'm going to create a function here to open file, to get an open file dialog. And this is PySimple, which is a very simple GUI for Python. It uses a lot of other libraries. It's a wrapper for a lot of other built-in and third-party libraries. But its key benefit is that it's very simple. So it just requires a few things, and you can put in a lot of variables here if you want to customize this. We're just going to use the basic. I'm going to change this to SG because it's more standard convention. You can change the layout to have colors and size and all sorts of stuff, but we just want the plain basics so that we can get a dialog box and we can select files rather than typing it in, which can be a little bit cumbersome when we're dealing with a lot of files. So really all this is a GUI just to open files rather than typing them in our code. File browse is the predefined dialog that will help us browse for files. Just be careful with the brackets because it is picky. So now we'll create an OK button on our open file dialog to press when we have the file we need, and this will save the file name. We'll put a cancel button as well, just in case. And that's really it with the layout of the dialog box. The next thing we're going to do is create a window instance, and this will have the open file name or get file name title on the window. And we'll copy in the layout or select the layout to format it the way we have it before. The event and the values. The event is a little redundant here. The values is what's going to take from the window. It's going to read the window when we select the file. The event is redundant, but it is useful if you're doing event-driven code with the dialog box, which we're not. We're just using it to open up a file. So we're going to return the value. The value then is the values, which is a key value pair from a dictionary, and browse is going to hold the value, the name of the file. So when we print this here, we should get the full name and path of the file. So we'll bring up our dialog box, we'll click Browse, and we'll select our Titanic passenger CVS list. Click OK, and that's all this does for now, is it just prints the title. But as you can see, we can use this in our code instead of typing in the long path and file name. And a lot of errors with code is a result of that, so this will help us a lot. So now we're going to read in that file, and then we'll print out the contents of the file, which is essentially we're just reading in the CSV file of the Titanic passenger list, and then we're printing out the data frame, which we'll talk about later in this course. And there's our data frame, which is a full list of all the passengers in our CSV file. As you can see, it's compacted here, and Pandas does that so it doesn't take up too much screen space. But if we look at the file and look at the last entry, we'll see that it's the same as the last entry we have on our file. And when we print, we can print this out better in future, but for now, just know that we printed out the entire list. So now, for example, if we wanted to print that list or save it out to an Excel file, we would need to import OpenPyXL. And I have a video course on OpenPyXL as well, but we're going to use data frames in our data analysis, which is much easier. You can also, as a tip, you can install it just by hovering over the module. If you don't have this ability or you're using some other IDE, just go out to the terminal and type pip3 install OpenPyXL. But regardless, at the end, you should have that library imported. So now we're going to take our data frame, df, and we're going to send it to Excel. That's a method that comes with the Pandas data frame. And we're going to send it to a new file called Titanic Test XLSX. And we're printing, and if we look at our files, we should have a new file, and we do. As you can see, this has not printed out well because the delimiter on the CSV file, I downloaded this from a website. For some reason, it has a delimiter of semicolon instead of comma, and that's what's causing the issue here. But we're going to fix that. I'll show you how to fix it and make it look neater. So if we open up the file and select the delimiter that we have, which is semicolon, this will make this file import nicer and print better. And this is something you'll have to do with data analysis quite often, is clean up data and change this. This is a common task. But now you can see it's much neater. And if we look at our file up here, it also should be, much cleaner. So all we've done here is really taken a CSV file and saved it out to an Excel. But you can see where the power of data frames comes in, because when we take in the data, we can slice and dice it any way we want. And then when we're finished, we can just simply write it out to a worksheet in Excel. So now let's use the GUI to save the files as well, so we don't have to type the file names in. So this will allow us to save the file anywhere on our computer easily. It's the same format as we used to open the file. The only difference here is the key is equal to save as, and that's just a way of getting the value from the return. So now we don't need the file name. We can just simply call that function save window, and that will bring us up a dialog box, and we can simply type in the name of the file where we want to save it. So let's run it, see how it works. So we'll select our Titanic passenger list again. And when we click OK this time, it immediately comes up with a save dialog box. So now we're going to give it a name to save it in. We'll save it in the same directory, but we could save it anywhere on our computer or anywhere to the cloud. So this is much easier and more straightforward. So we click OK. So as you can see, the program still executes. And now we have a file up here on the top left that says My Saved Excel. So this is a really neat way of opening and saving files, and without having to remember where exactly they're located and the full name and path of the file. And this will be very helpful in the data analytics course that we're going to continue with in these videos. So this was an introduction to working with pandas in Python. In the next video, we'll see how powerful Panda data frames can be at selecting, manipulating, and filtering data. The information in these videos will be invaluable when you're dealing with data with Python. You can certainly import and manage data in other ways, but this is clearly the most powerful and easiest way to do it. The code for this video and other videos in the series will be on my GitHub site, noted below. If you enjoy these videos, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.